Welcome back to A Better Choice Homestead. My name is Kelly, and on my channel, I focus on food, growing it, preparing it, and preserving it. Today is Tuesday, so we are doing another edition of Tasty Tuesday, and today I am going to be making a vegetarian meal. I'm going to be making falafels. Now, falafels are something that I fell in love with in college. There was this little authentic stand down the street from me when I lived in California that I used to go to as often as I could. I would just walk there. It was my first exposure to falafels, and I absolutely fell in love with them. And later on in life, I realized just how easy they are to make in your own kitchen, and they are a nutrition powerhouse and so easy to make. So let me show you what we're gonna do to get started, and let's get going. All right, to start with, we want to make sure that we are using dry chickpeas that have been soaked overnight. We don't want them cooked, which means we don't want them canned, because canned does cook during the canning process. So this is 1 cup of chickpeas that have been soaked overnight, and I am just going to get these drained before we get started. I also have 1 small onion that I have just quartered down. I have 3 cloves of garlic in here. And this is optional, but because I dehydrate tomatoes, I'm going to be adding a few of those slices in here as well, just to add to the overall flavor profile. And then we also have some fresh herbs. I have 1 cup of fresh cilantro, just the leaves and the stems. And I have a half of a cup of some fresh parsley as well. And if you don't like cilantro, you can use all parsley if you'd like. You can leave out the herbs if you'd like, but I highly recommend using them. They really do bring a lot of additional flavor to the dish. And parsley is loaded with vitamin E, with some vitamin Bs, potassium K. They're an antioxidant, antimicrobial, really, really healthy to add parsley to your diet whenever you can. And the cilantro is full of antioxidants, vitamin K, vitamin A, vitamin C. They also have antimicrobial properties as well as polyphenols. So just, whenever you can incorporate fresh herbs into your diet, you should try to do so. Your body will thank you. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and get these drained and rinsed, and then I'm just gonna go throw all of this into the food processor, and we're just going to get it chopped up all together into kind of a pasty consistency. This step goes pretty quick. I'm just gonna add the chickpeas to the food processor along with my onion, garlic, and tomato slices, dehydrated tomato slices, and all of the fresh herbs. And we're just gonna run this for a few seconds to get everything chopped up, and I will use a spatula to scrape down the sides if needed, because we just want everything to be kind of the same consistency. Scrape down the sides a bit. And run that one more time. That looks good. And by the way, it already smells incredible. I'm telling you, those fresh herbs really bring a lot to this. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the food processor, and we're gonna switch over to my Wonder Mill, because I do need about a 1/4 cup of chickpea flour. So I'm gonna use dry chickpeas, make my own flour. That just makes it really easy and convenient. Chickpeas are an amazing meat substitute. They are loaded with protein. They're also loaded with fiber. Most of that is soluble fiber, which means it's really gut healthy. It helps increase the number of beneficial bacteria in your gut, and your gut is your immune system. So overall, these are a really good option to keep your immunity up. Chickpeas also contain almost every vitamin and mineral that our bodies need, and they also contain some omegas as well as some polyphenols. So chickpeas are a superfood. They're a powerhouse of nutrition, and you can find recipes like this that make them absolutely easy and delicious to add to your diet, especially if you maybe want to do a meatless protein type meal like this is. Now, I'm not exactly sure how many chickpeas to use to get a 1/4 cup of flour. I'm still pretty new at grinding my own beans and wheat berries and things like that, but I have made this recipe a few times and I know it does not take very many. So these are, again, dry chickpeas, and I am just going to grind a small handful down because, like I said, we only need a 1/4 cup. So you want to make sure that your machine is on before you add whatever it is you're going to be grinding. So here we go. Let's see if that gave us enough. I waited until it came to a complete stop before I'm disengaging the canister that holds the flour, because otherwise it might, blow all over the place. That is plenty of flour in there. Now that we have our chickpea flour, I'm just going to add that in. And then we're going to add a few spices, as well as some baking powder. So I'm going to put a teaspoon of baking powder in here. A teaspoon of cumin. A teaspoon of coriander. A teaspoon of salt. And about 1/2 teaspoon of some black pepper. And now I'm just going to get that all mixed through, and then I'm going to pop this into the refrigerator just to let everything kind of set up for about 30 minutes. And then we will make some patties, during which time we will probably add just a little bit of water to make sure that these hold together well. But this smells incredible, and these are so delicious and so easy to make, seriously. I definitely want to make sure all of those spices are kind of evenly distributed out throughout this mixture. You wouldn't want to bite into one falafel that had a whole teaspoon of salt in it. So we just want to make sure it's mixed well. And that ought to do it. And you can see here that this is just a very, very coarse mixture. It actually is kind of holding its shape fairly well. We may not need to add any moisture to it, but it's just ground down into tiny pieces of food that are all roughly the same size. So these are going to make beautiful little falafel patties or meatless meatballs, and I am super excited to be having this tonight. While the falafel batter is chilling in the refrigerator, I'm going to go ahead and get working on the sauce. You can serve falafels with a hummus if you'd like. I prefer to use something a little bit more creamy and cooling, so I'm going to be pairing this with a homemade tzatziki sauce. So to start, I'm going to grate some cucumber. This is an English cucumber. I'm not going to peel it. It is organic, and we only need about a 1/4 cup of this cucumber. So I'm just using my box grater and the micro plane that is on here. I just want the cucumber in really small bits. So this is probably a little 2-inch piece of the English cucumber, which does not have seeds to speak of at all. It's a very mild cucumber. And again, the skin is not bad. It's not tough at all. It's totally edible, and especially since this is organic. Now you can see that this has created quite a bit of juice from the cucumber. So I'm actually just going to use a little cloth napkin here, put the cucumber on top of that, and just kind of get out the excess moisture before just adding it to my bowl. And now I can dry this up. And to the cucumber, I am going to add 1 cup of a thick, creamy Greek yogurt. You can use a low-fat or a non-fat. I'm using a 5%. And that just goes right in. And then to that, I am going to add a little bit of garlic. So I have 1 clove of garlic that I have already peeled. And I'm just going to mince that right inside the bowl. Just making sure we get it all in there. And then I'm going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice, about a half a tablespoon of some olive oil, a pinch of salt, and then some fresh dill. And how much fresh dill is totally dependent on how much you would like to use. I am just going to kind of rough chop some down. That's probably close to 2 tablespoons worth of dill. I really like fresh dill. I think it is a lovely herb, and it certainly pairs well with tzatziki sauce. So I'm just going to get this all mixed together. And then I'm going to get this into the refrigerator alongside with our falafel batter so that this has time to marinate in flavor and chill. Tzatziki sauce is best served cold. This looks lovely. This looks fantastic. This is just going to go right into the refrigerator while we wait for the falafel batter to chill. And when we come back, this is going to all cook up and come together into a meal in just a couple of minutes. So this is definitely an under 30-minute from start to serve meal. And we are using a meatless protein, and garbanzo beans, especially the dry garbanzo beans or chickpeas, are incredibly budget friendly. So if you're looking for more ways to get protein, high quality protein into your diet without breaking the bank, this is certainly one meal to serve to do that. All right, as I said, the rest of this is gonna go super quick. This is our chilled falafel batter dough. And it is still pretty wet. So if yours comes out too dry, you can add just a little bit of water in here. What you're looking for is a consistency that will hold its shape. And this is pretty much holding its shape, but I'm going to add just a little bit more chickpea flour in here since I did make enough to have extra. That's not a big deal. I want to make sure it holds together in the oil. I've got a pan with avocado oil on medium-high heat. You can use whatever high-temp cooking oil that you have on hand. And I'm not going to add too much flour to this, but it is pretty wet. So I'm trying to dry it out just a little bit so that it holds its shape. I'm gonna be making these into kind of hamburger shapes, you know, flat medallions. You can also do round falafels, which is how I originally had them in California at that little stand. Those you would cook in the oven versus on the stovetop. This way is just a whole lot easier. Plus, I like the little flat ones that you can serve over the top of a salad or something else really easily. It's not a big ball. So this is my preferred way of doing it, and it cooks up just 2 to 3 minutes per side in this hot oil. So again, this is gonna go super quick. All right, let's give this a try. I still have a little bit of chickpea flour left if I need it, but we are just gonna make some patties. You can make them whatever size you'd like. I go for, I don't know, what is this? Maybe palm size. So I'm gonna make a couple of them, and that's smoking pretty bad, which is fine because it's avocado oil. But that means the oil is hot and ready, and so I'm just gonna turn it down just a tiny bit while we finish making these patties. If they're roughly the same size, they should cook at the same time. You're looking to get them just a golden brown on the outside. Nothing on the inside necessarily needs to cook. So you don't have to really fry the heck out of them. It's just pretty much a quick toss through the pan. Okay. I went ahead and made a double batch. So I've got the second half in the refrigerator because I will definitely make those again later in the week. Since I already had all of the equipment out and everything, this is super delicious and it will make a really good lunch for some day or two throughout the week as well. The one in the refrigerator, I have not yet added the spices to. I really just got everything processed through the food processor and then stuck it in the fridge. So when I'm ready to make my next batch, I'll add the rest of the ingredients, refrigerate it for 30 minutes, and I should have plenty of tzatziki sauce to serve with that as well. All right, so that's roughly the same size. This one's just a little bit smaller, and this is number 7. And I would serve like 2 of these inside of a wrap or inside of a pita, which is how we're gonna do it. So I'm just gonna get my hands cleaned up here, and then we're gonna get to frying. So I'm gonna go in with a patty, and I'm gonna go clockwise all the way around, wait for 2 minutes, and then give them a flip. Oh, looks like my odd man out is not gonna make it into the pan on the first round. That's fine. So 12-inch frying pan, you can fit 6 patties in there at a time. And you can see the oil's not very deep. I just wanted it to come up halfway on the patties. So it's really shallow. You don't need a whole lot of oil, and how much oil will depend on the size of your pan. You just want them submerged halfway because when you flip them, it'll cook halfway up on the other side. All right, there's our timer. Now, I have to be very, very careful when I flip these. They are a little bit delicate while they're cooking. And this one was thicker, so I'm gonna let that one go just a little bit longer because that one was the largest by far. I'm gonna just use a little assist here to get that flipped. These look fantastic. That one's sticking a little bit. There we go. They look wonderful. They've got that pistachio green color from the herbs, so you wouldn't have that if you didn't add in all those fresh herbs. They would still be good. I just don't think that they would be quite as flavorful or nutritious. Oh, yep, that one was a little too thick. All right, I'm gonna take him out. And sub in my small one. So 2 more minutes and these will be done, and then I'll flip that small one. And there's our 2-minute timer, so I'm gonna get this small one flipped and the rest out of the pan. I think that first one was just a little too big, but these look incredible. Voila, these look and smell fantastic. Now I'm gonna serve these in store-bought pita bread. I do make my own pita bread. I just didn't have a chance to do that today, so this is gonna be fine. I'm just gonna cut the you could do this one of 2 ways. You can cut the pita bread totally in half and have 2 sandwiches. I'm gonna cut like the top piece of the bread off, and that is going to give me a larger pocket here to work with. And I'm gonna load this up with some of that tzatziki sauce and then put these falafel balls in there. You can serve this with also some lettuce inside, some tomato, some cucumber, whatever you want. These are gonna be absolutely lovely. And to get the tzatziki sauce inside, I'm just gonna use this little very thin spatula and open up the pocket. Yeah, my homemade pitas have way better pockets than these ones do. Oh well. Oh man, this is gonna be good. I am looking forward to this. And then just put a couple of these amazing meatless meatballs, falafel balls inside. I'm gonna take that smaller one. And voila, you have an amazing meatless meal right here. Let's give it a taste. I honestly don't know how to eat this without making a mess, but I'm gonna give it a try. And I'll give you a close-up on those falafel balls too. Once you cook them, they're perfectly sturdy. The first one that fell apart, it was a little too thick, so I probably should have cooked it a little bit longer. But these ones, they all came out beautiful, and these are gonna be delicious. All right, let's give it a try. Mmm. Mmm. These are incredible. That tzatziki sauce absolutely makes this. The flavor combinations together are incredible. The falafel balls they taste a little bit nutty. They definitely don't taste like they're made with garbanzo beans or chickpeas. They just have a really lovely flavor. A lot of that is coming from the spices and the herbs. So the coriander, the cumin, the parsley, the cilantro, and of course my dehydrated tomatoes as well. This is lovely. Mm. And I'm really glad I made a double batch. So that is an easy to do meal, a really inexpensive meal when you're trying to get high quality protein at a budget friendly price. It also brings in all of those polyphenols and omega that your typical meatballs don't have. So give this a try. Let me know in the comments if you do. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Tasty Tuesday Falafel Wrap Edition. My name is Kelly, you're at A Better Choice Homestead, and I do hope you come back and visit again soon.